The wombing divine sovereign wants to kill me? Yun Qi looked surprised, his expression a mixture of 40% shock and 60% bewilderment. But after a brief moment of thought, he roughly understood the reason. Not only did he show no trace of fear, but a faint smile touched his lips. Thank you for the reminder, elder brother one, I will be careful. To be so unfazed by the killing intent of a divine sovereign despite being a mere divine master. Mosu narrowed his eyes slightly. You are not afraid? What does it matter if I fear her, and what if I don't? Yun Qi's demeanor was one of composure that completely belied his cultivation level. He spoke with a bold and carefree arrogance. The wombing divine sovereign, when all is said and done, is just a pitiable woman who lost her heart to love. In my eyes, she is fundamentally no different from the soulless abyssal ghosts in the Sea of Fog. I can enter and exit the Sea of Fog, where countless abyssal ghosts roam all by myself. Why should I fear a woman who has lost her mind to madness? Mosu shook his head with a smile. In all my years as the Abyssal Emperor, I have witnessed the rise and fall of generations of divine sovereigns, yet I have never heard anyone describe a divine sovereign of a divine kingdom with such words. That is because the world before never had a character like me. The short sentence was both carefree and wildly unrestrained. The Abyssal Emperor's smile widened, as if he were somewhat pleased. Seeing you like this, it seems you don't need me to interfere in this matter either. Yun Qi did not answer directly. Instead, he asked with a rather serious tone, May I ask, Elder Brother Mosu, in your understanding of Elder Brother Naixuan, would he choose to act cautiously and live under the protection of others just because he was facing a threat? Mosu answered immediately without needing to reminisce. He absolutely would not. Then, Elder Brother, you should know my answer as well. Mosu gazed at Yun Qi once more and let out the same sigh of admiration. You and Elder Brother Naixuan, you are truly two alike. Dugu Zhaiyuan bowed his head deeply, desperately concealing the storm of shock in his eyes. He had never heard the Abyssal Emperor speak so much, nor had he ever seen him smile like this. The wombing divine sovereign's extreme aversion to men is known to all, yet she is still respectful before you, elder brother. This shows that while she may have lost her heart, she has not completely lost her mind. As such, in her capacity as the wombing divine sovereign, she would not go so far as to act against me personally. And given my status, anyone who wants to kill me must not only get past the Dreamweaver divine kingdom, but also find the right time and place to avoid leaving any traces. At this point, Yun Qi's eyes narrowed for an instant. A place came to his mind. The God-Sleep Forbidden Domain. His expression remained unchanged as he continued. And by the time the Evernight Divine Kingdom finally finds this so-called right time and place, the killing intent born from a momentary provocation in the wombing divine sovereign might have long since faded. Mosu nodded slightly. Indeed, though you are young, your judgment of character already far surpasses that of your peers. However, between heaven and earth, infinite variables exist in every breath, and the human heart changes 1,000 times in every moment. Even standing at the highest peak, one cannot truly grasp the whole picture or fully comprehend the hearts of others. Are you not afraid of accidents? Do you not fear the what-ifs? Yun Qi simply smiled, completely devoid of worry. If one must always be on guard, constantly anxious and cautious, then life would be far too constrained. Even if I were to meet with disaster tomorrow, for whatever reason, that would be my fate. Elder brother would only need to burn a stick of incense for me and grieve for a short while. Don't let sorrow weigh on your heart and don't seek revenge for me. Just let me go without any lingering attachments, free and at ease. The Abyssal Emperor stared at Yun Qi, knowing this was Yun Qi's way of trying to comfort him. Back when he and Naixuan had roamed the mortal world, Naixuan had said something similar. Even the expressions on their faces as they spoke these words were so alike. Back then he had been endlessly envious of Naixuan's carefree and untamed spirit, and he still was now. But he couldn't be like that. He was not worthy. I understand. He looked at Naixuan and nodded with a smile. I had originally decided to have Dugu Zhaiyuan stay by your side to protect you. Now that I think about it, that would have been a restraint on you. It was indeed a lack of consideration on my part. Dugu Zhaiyuan. Yun Qi didn't stand on ceremony at all and immediately said, No, 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 please don't. That's not just a restraint, it's like clamping a shining, conspicuous shackle on my head. Dugu Zhaiyuan. Oh. Speaking of which, as if remembering something extremely important, Yun Qi's tone shifted abruptly, each word urgent. Right now, this instant, remove your divine sense from me. Don't leave even a single trace behind. From the moment he had stepped into the Pure Land, he had been under the Abyssal Emperor's gaze. Because of the heretic god's profound veins in his body, or more accurately, because of Nai Xuan's aura. Not to mention the punishment of desolate knowing later on, Mo Su had intervened to stop Hua Kaylee's sword, preventing her from gravely injuring herself, because he had already spied on their private affair. Very well, Mo Su agreed. Rest assured, since you've called me elder brother, I will naturally not spy on you again. So you admit it was spying? Yun Qi's words were tinged with resentment. He leaned in closer, his face serious. Elder brother, you are the Abyssal Emperor. Once you've given your word, you absolutely cannot go back on it. You are not allowed to spy on me in secret ever again. What if my Kaylee and I are in the middle of a passionate moment? My woman is not for anyone to look at, not even you, elder brother. Even Dugu Zhaiyuan could faintly see two black lines too seem to hang down the Abyssal Emperor's forehead. How could I be that kind of person? The Abyssal Emperor, who had not known the meaning of arguing for countless years, delivered this plain rebuttal with a hint of awkwardness. After speaking, he realized his retort lacked force and was hardly befitting of an elder brother. He immediately shook his head and laughed. Zhaiyuan, send Yun Qi back. As they parted, Mo Su gave him one last piece of advice. Yun Qi, remember not to enter the Sea of Fog. That is the only place I cannot control. Of course. Now that I know of the Fog Emperor's existence, how would I dare to take even half a step inside? Yun Qi followed Dugu Zhaiyuan and left. Mo Su watched him go, standing silently for a long time. Only when Yun Qi's figure landed on Eden's cloud crest did he tilt his head up slightly, a soft sigh dissipating into the gentle breeze. Elder brother Nai Xuan, even though our worlds are severed and ages have passed, you still think of me, allowing another you to appear in my world. To have met you and Zio die in this life. Despite the endless sorrow and soul-crushing grief, how fortunate I still am. After leaving Eden's cloud crest, Yun Qi still wore a relaxed and carefree expression, his eyes not forgetting to take in the unique scenery of the Pure Land. In truth, a heavy weight had quietly lifted from his heart, only to be replaced by a lingering gloom that refused to dissipate. Dugu Zhaiyuan guarded him from the front in silence. Though his heart was filled with endless astonishment, he maintained the posture of a knight and did not dare to ask a single question. Li Xiuo asked, "You are no longer facing the Abyssal Emperor. Why is your heart still so heavy? Are you afraid his divine sense is still following you?" "No," Yun Qi's voice was calm. "Since he has given his promise, he will definitely not spy on me again." He paused for a moment, his tone turning grave. Li Xiuo, do you remember what the Qilin God said in the ancient Qilin God realm before it dissipated? It said, "The abyss is doomed to collapse. His obsession is the most terrifying thing in this world, and no one can stand against it." Today, having faced the Abyssal Emperor in person, I finally understand how terrifying he is. It far exceeds my expectations. One could even say it has surpassed the limits of what I could have ever imagined. Terrifying? Li Xiuo murmured, seemingly confused. But he has shown you nothing but goodwill and trust, and I cannot sense any malice from him. Yun Qi did not refute Li Xiuo's words, but instead agreed, "Of course you can't sense any malice from him because he is not an evil person. But there is a type of person who is far, far more terrifying than a villain." Li Xiuo could not understand this sentence. "What do you mean?" Yun Qi said slowly. "You think he has a special kind of trust in me. But in reality, for him, concepts like trust or distrust don't apply to me. Think back carefully on my conversation with him. From beginning to end, he never once sought to verify the truth of anything I said. The one or two probing questions he asked were merely to find Nai Xuan's shadow in me." Li Xiuo fell silent for a moment. "In other words, he only cares about the aura of Nai Xuan on me and my identity as Nai Xuan's successor. As for whether my words are true or false, he couldn't care less. Because, just as he said himself, only one thing remains in his life, and there is no room for anything else. This is precisely what makes him so terrifying." Yun Qi's voice slowed, each word chilling the heart. Even a villain must weigh the pros and cons before acting. But an obsession this extreme and pure has completely transcended the worldly concepts of good and evil, right and wrong. For the sake of any possibility, he is willing to pay any price. Any obstacle will be annihilated without a moment's hesitation. Nothing can obstruct it. There is no path of retreat, no thought can disturb it, and no emotion can sway it. Li Xiuo seemed to understand, but what followed was a sense of bewilderment at such a pure obsession. "I still can't comprehend why he would be so obsessed with one person. As a fellow emperor of a world, why didn't he choose to be like you, with a harem of imperial consorts and 9 demoness attendants? Ahem, ahem, ahem. Yun Qi forcefully cut her off, speaking with utmost seriousness. My circumstances and his are vastly different. How can they be compared? How are they different? Li Xiu pressed. Because Pan Xiaodi saved his life with her own body. It's more than that, Yun Qi said. What Pan Xiaodi did back then, though born of extreme passion and desperation, placing Mosu's safety above all else, was an unforgivable crime against the demon race, as it cost them 2 great demonic artifacts. There is no doubt about that. Any member of the demon race has the right to hate and curse her. Her clan and her family were surely shamed because of her. If word got out, even those of other races would surely mock and despise her. This shows that Pan Xiaodi was a person who followed her heart to an extreme degree. Her feelings for Mosu completely transcended reason and what was right. At the same time, Mosu's father, the heaven-punishing divine emperor Mo'i, was a man who, for the sake of reason and what was right, could be so ruthless as to use the ancestral sword to execute his own son. The stark contrast, the immense impact of these 2 extremes, gave birth to the Mosu of today, whose obsession is as boundless as the abyss itself. Li Xiu pondered for a long time, her understanding of human nature once again expanding. She then sighed softly. So the terror of an ultimate obsession can surpass that of ultimate evil. What kind of state is Pan Xiaodi in now? I can't ask. I don't dare to ask, Yun Qi said with a sigh. But one can guess that there is likely a sliver of life force that has not yet been extinguished by her will to die, and the place she is in now is undoubtedly the cradle that Kaylee mentioned. Li Xiu asked again, but I'm still puzzled. Is his obsession truly as pure and terrifying as you say? It's not as if he has no other concerns. Otherwise, how would the Pure Land and the 6 divine kingdoms exist today? Yun Qi's eyes narrowed slightly. You've hit on the key point, Li Xiu. From the looks of it, Mosu seems to believe that the only way to awaken Pan Xiaodi is in the eternal Pure Land. What that method is unimportant, because no matter what, he must absolutely not be allowed to set foot in the God realm. Traveling to the eternal Pure Land requires the spatial power of the Panaming void-piercing mirror, and to activate it, the power of the 6 divine kingdoms must be gathered, including the abyssal crystals accumulated by the 6 divine kingdoms over generations, and the divine power of the 7 true gods. This is the reason he maintains the existence of the 6 divine kingdoms. With Mosu's power touching the level of a creation god, trying to surpass him in strength in such a limited time is nothing but a fool's dream. Therefore, the path I must walk remains the same as before. A more dangerous and determined dark light flickered in his eyes. Seize the divine sources of the major divine kingdoms. And he had already determined his first target, which was gradually drawing near. What about the Lord of the Abyss? Li Xiu reminded him. Since Mosu wouldn't lie, then it truly exists. Could it become a huge variable? Yun Qi said calmly. When you have strength to spare, you must guard against and plan for all possible variables. But when you have no strength to spare, you must forget them and focus on the present. Since the Lord of the Abyss said it would sleep for 5 million years, then it should just continue to sleep obediently and quietly. Li Xiu wanted to speak but hesitated. When she first entered the Abyss, she had told Yun Qi that this world gave her a strange sense of unease. At first, she thought it was because Yun Qi's power was too weak in this world, and since her life and soul were connected to his, she would naturally feel uneasy. But as Yun Qi gradually grew stronger, and the people he faced became more powerful, this sense of unease had always persisted, never changing. Even upon entering the Pure Land and facing the strongest being in this world, the Abyssal Emperor, this unease did not intensify. And after learning of the Lord of the Abyss's existence, a fragment of her perception was quietly stirred, telling her that this unease might be because there was an existence in this world that was on a higher plane than her. However, she did not voice this thought to Yun Qi. Just as he said, facing the entire abyssal world alone, he truly had no spare capacity to deal with other greater variables. Telling him would undoubtedly add another heavy weight to his already immense burden. She hoped this thought was just a mistake, and she hoped even more that the Lord of the Abyss would sleep peacefully and not awaken. If only there was someone who could help him, who could walk alongside him in this world and share the fate of their homeland. That would be for the best.